Hello all, Ruckus here. It is that time again. Finally, it is tank review time. We are up to tier 5 of the German heavy tank line with the Panzerkampfwagen IV. Is it any good, and how does it compare against its tier 5 brothers? Well, we will find out. But first, a little bit of history. The PZ4 was one of the most highly produced German vehicles of World War II. It was designed in 1936 by the Krupp Corporation and was produced from that year up until the conclusion of the war in 1945. It was also very widely exported, with units going to Finland, Romania, Spain, and Bulgaria, and post-war even going out to Syria, where it saw action in the 1948 Arab-Israeli War and even in the 60s under Syria again in the Six-Day War. The PZ4 was originally intended to be an infantry support vehicle, with the PZ3 taking on the anti-tank role. The earliest models, the Ausf.A, which Aus stands for variant, mounted a 75mm short-barreled, low-velocity howitzer intended to fire high explosive at bunkers and similar targets. But as the war progressed, that gun's shortcomings became apparent. It had a lot of trouble getting through other infantry support vehicles like the British Matilda during the Battle of France. And by the time Operation Barbarossa came about in 1943, the invasion of Russia, the PZ4 was upgunned to a long-barreled 75mm anti-tank gun with twice the muzzle velocity and penetration, which was a good thing because the vehicle was to come up against the T-34 and KV-1s. The armor was also increased during this time up to 80mm by the time the vehicle reached the Ost-H variant, which was the pinnacle of the Panzer IV line. Interestingly, the PZ4 Ost-J, the final variant, was actually a downgrade. It was made to be simpler to manufacture due to the effects of the war on German industry. It lost vision ports and the electric turret drive and some other features. As well as the huge numbers of PZ4s that were manufactured, there were also a wide variety of fighting vehicles based on the PZ4 chassis. These included tank destroyers like the Stug and the Stug 4. There was the Flat Panzer and the Dickermax. There were also some pretty badass looking anti-aircraft vehicles like the Mobile Wagon, the Wirbelwind, and the Kugelblitz. There were SPGs like the Grasshopper and the Hummel, and also another infantry support vehicle, the Sturmpanzer, with its monster howitzer. People have been campaigning to get that into World Tanks for ages now. Now a quick look through the vehicle statistics. We've got the three regular tier 5 medium tanks here, the PZ4, the M4 Sherman and the T-34, up against the Crusader, the tier 5 British light tank, which isn't a medium, but it's not a very good light tank either, so it might as well be in here. There are also 5 premium mediums here at tier 5, 2 Germans, the T-25 and the PZ4 Hydro, 2 Americans, the Ram 2 and the M4A2E4, and the UK option, the Matilda Black Prince. Price-wise, the PZ4 sits in the middle, 373,000 credits. The weight is pretty low. There's some big vehicles in there. The M4E4 is the biggest, 31.8 tons. Couple that with its pretty high top speed, 52 km per hour, means it's probably the best rammer in that group, for the tier anyway. 660 hit points is the best out of the regulars, but you can see there the premium tanks all have higher hit points. Powder weight is decent, but the T-25 is the standout there. It has a great top speed too of 60 km per hour, the highest. And look at the difference between it and the Matilda Black Prince. Two very different playstyles there. Terrible powder weight ratio for the Black Prince, and 22 km per hour top speed is awful. Hull traverse of 30 degrees per second is as low as it gets on that board. The turret traverse though is better, 44 degrees. View range 240 is as good as it gets, but there's only 10 meters difference across that whole board there. And the fire chance 20% is bad, but again, not much difference there between the two options. On to the gun's performance. I've opted to use the 75mm long barrel as the comparison. Also the 76mm on the Sherman. These are not the derp guns that are an option and are popular. And I've gone the opposite way on the T-34, using the 57mm rapid firing gun instead of the larger option. It has better DPM. Two options for gun size are the standard for this tier in the mediums, 75mm and the 57mm. And that similarity carries over to the damage, 160 for the 75mm guns and about 90 for the 57s, although the Black Prince has less there per shot, 75. Rate of fire there of 7.5 rounds per minute for the PZ4's 75mm cannon is good amongst the other 75mm. Obviously it's beaten by the 57s, they are the rapid firing guns, and the Black Prince's stands out there, 26 rounds per minute for a DPM of 1950 is very good. But obviously you have to be exposed the whole time to get that amount of damage out. The penetration values for the PZ4 75mm cannon though are not great, only really beating the E4s there. It has the standout worst performing rounds. The Ram 2 is also quite bad. The gold rounds are okay, but the standard AP is poor, and it doesn't even have the option to fire HE. Dispersion though, the accuracy is great on the PZ4, 0.39 is one of the best. And the aim time is on the average, so quite a reliable shot there. Elevation 20 degrees, arc upwards is not the best, but you won't feel that in most situations. But the depression, -8 degrees, is underwhelming. It's even beaten by the PZ4 Hydro there, which gets -10. And lastly, on to the armor. And we can see here that unless we're looking at the vehicle front on, it is not a particularly good story. The hull, 80 mils at the front, is great, at least on paper. This is a German tank though, which means it is a small box of a tank, and there is not much sloping. So even though it looks much better than the others on paper, in effect, with their better sloped armor, it's probably much the same. The whole sides and rear though are terrible. The Germans, their 20 mils on the rear of all their tanks is as bad as it gets. And the turret from the front is okay, but from the sides and rear, again, is one of the worst performers. The upgraded turret on the PZ4 is not quite so bad. It does have that ring of spaced armor, which will probably give you another 20mm or so of effective armor thickness. Unfortunately, I cannot get you the exact figures for that because Game Model 3D's PZ4 page is bugged. It only shows the stock version of the tank, so that's just what we'll have to check out here. You can see here 80mm for the upper and lower plates of the hull, 30 for the sloped back part, give you an effective thickness, which is pretty much the same as the frontal plates. 50 for the front of the turret, and a big commander's hatch, which is only 30mm thick, quite a big weak spot. The rest of the tank, well, not much to look at. It's just a medium tank with very little armor, 30 on the sides everywhere, and there's that 20 mils on the rear. Alright, let's take this thing out and watch a bit of gameplay. Two games to show off. One with the 75mm long barrel, this game here, and one with the stubby 10.5cm. We're on Fowles Creek, myself and Carrick in his KV1. It's a tier 5 game. The PZ4 here is fully upgraded. You can see the spaced armor on the side of the turret. And I was going through a stage where I figured camping behind this bush at the start of games in a medium tank was a viable tactic. I don't really do it anymore. It never really paid off, but for a few games it seemed to be working. Park up here. Occasionally you'll see people rush to the bridge or past it to that back corner of the map down there. But in this particular game, the enemy are noob rushing us across the bridge. There's 3 heavy tanks on the move. The rest of our team is slowly making their way towards Cap. Taking hits already. Carrick moves through Cap. I'm going to push around to the rear here. There is a KV1 approaching the bridge. And a rival PZ4 moving to flank. KV1 on our team exalts the team to defend. He will offer all kinds of helpful advice all game. Thank you. Enemy PZ has the same gun. We trade damage pointlessly. Look for a shot at the front of the turret, but we both get bounces. And now we've got a dogfight on our hands. Get the first blow. He glances off my slightly angled side there. Flank around to buy a bit more time for my reload. And unluckily for him, he gets another bounce off the side. I would have expected that one to penetrate. And a win. Carrick has finished off the enemy KV-1. It's 2v2 at the moment. Could go either way. The enemy N6 is pushing through our ranks though, and it is about to go pear-shaped. It's too late to head back to cap from where we were, and there are plenty of targets up on the hill, so we move into cover up here, try and flank behind these guys that are raining fire down towards our cap. It's now 2-4, and the base capture has begun, so this game is not looking great. If only I had the howitzer now. 400 damage into the rear of that M3 Lee would have been very nice. He's running off. M4 has the derp gun, so I don't want to get hit by that. Pull back as a high explosive round plows into the ground. And now it's just myself and Carrick. M4 bails and backs off into the creek. Home Wrecker in his M6 is charging us down. We're going to have to make a stand here. Base capture begins for a second time. Swapping now to APCR. Base capture stops for a second time. APCR through the upper plate of the M6. I'll wait for Carrick to advance now. Maybe you'll be able to distract the M6. Let me get another shot off. I try and side scrape in a PZ4 and it doesn't work out real well. One more into the M6's side. Carrick with the killing blow. Base capture is now going for a third time. The VK is happy just to sit here and see what we do. Now, I make a huge misplay here. I go to flank behind him and commit, but then as I crest, targets everywhere. M4 directly in front of me. I get one into him, bounce a KV one shot, and now it is looking very grim. I'm in the middle of everyone. KV1 does not bounce that shot. Heaps of damage. One hit point remaining. Carrick now on his own. Base capture is at 60%. Things are going very poorly. He's surrounded and down he goes. It's just a matter of time, unfortunately. Can I cling to my one hit point here? Base capture now climbing towards 80%. Some N3 Lee in there, I assume. And oh, he's facing me. I get one into him. A bounce. And he's running off. So the base capture stops for a third time. Starts for a fourth time. And now I'm going to leg it out of here. KV1 comes around the corner. Base capture stops for a fourth time. He misses. I'm safely into the bushes. Base capture starts for a fifth time. There's only a minute left on the clock. And I'm playing for a draw here. There is nothing else I can do. They've only got one guy on cap, which is not enough to win it in 50 seconds. M6 has finally woken up to what is about to occur here. Out in the open, across the bridge. Target still looking for me. Only one person going the sensible option and capping. 30 seconds left now. Mackie 1966 still offering all kinds of helpful advice. Now park up in the back. No one is going to get to me in time. 10 seconds left on the clock. That is going to be frustrating for them. One hit point and a draw. So the first draw I've shown on this channel. Spartan, Sniper, and Defender. 2k damage, 1 for Carrick. 16 shots fired, 13 penetrations. And 22,000 credits. For the second game, I am rocking the stubby 10.5cm L28 derp gun. 6 rounds per minute. Obviously you lose a lot of your penetration. AP rounds down to 64mm. High explosive, anti-tank, 104mm is not great either. But interestingly, your HE rounds actually jump up to 53mm, which is decent. Certainly a viable option if you find some low armoured targets. So panning around here, looking for a YouTube screenshot and not watching where I'm going. Good start to the game. AP rounds, 330 damage with this gun. High explosive rounds up to 410. Definitely start slinging some of those around if you load up this gun. Accuracy though is terrible, 0.55. And the dispersion, the aim time, 2.5, so it's worse as well than the L75. Behind my favourite bush, target spotted this time, but there's that accuracy going to work. T28 in the cap circle. He has no armor at the front, so AP rounds do the job. Back to HE. Panning around. I shot their sails over my engine deck. I wasn't paying attention to it though, and that'll bite me on the arse a bit later on. 1 HE into the KV1, pull back, and bang! That hurt. That was the Wolverine sitting up near the bridge, firing a derp gun similar to mine. Speculative shot at the KV1, nowhere near. This KV1 is down to low health. If I can just clip him. Nope. There's that accuracy again. Second shot does the job. M4 out wide. Gonna flank round to him. Still in HE. Team's doing well. We're up 3-1. Think about using heat rounds here, but the M4 pulls away into cover. And I figure it's worth rushing this guy. 4-1 now. The game is likely won. Still in heat, but the M4 turns around, which means I can swap back to AP. Side of this guy. Easy. Now 5-3. Carrick still near the cap. The Wolverine and the T1 are likely swinging back to us, so it's time to flank back around either side. This gun is decent in tier 5, manageable in tier 6, and next to useless in tier 7. Even your heat rounds, 104mm is not enough for a lot of tier 7 vehicles. But in these low tier games, it's a lot of fun. Now I don't want to get derped again. I'm down to 1/3 of my health. So I'm just playing a bit cautiously, see what Carrick spots. There's the T1. Swap back to AP, which is fortuitous because there is that Wolverine. Side of the turret for 300 damage. Take that. Trying to flank to the T1. Wolverine clips me, but luckily does not penetrate. Must have been a high explosive round. AP through the back of the T1. Swap positions with Carrick. Now, just debating what ammo to go with here. What is this guy going to do? I go to flank, but he appears, and side of the tank with AP will do it. So a top gun and a second class for that one. 1.8 for me and 1.6 for Carrick. 11 shots fired, 8 damaging shots, and 35,000 credits. And so concludes my Panzerkampfwagen IV tank review, guys. I hope you learned something or enjoyed the gameplay. Next up will be the VK3001P, the last medium tank of the Morse line. At the rate I'm going, it'll likely come around June, July, but I'll try and push it out before then. So thanks again for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.